and welcome to an introduction to ratio. Today we're going to cover the basics of simplifying a ratio using and splitting a ratio. As always, there is a worksheet in the description which goes through the same stuff I'm going through right now, so if you want to work along you can download and print it out. Let's get started. First things first, what a ratio means. If you have a ratio of red marbles to blue marbles, the ratio 1 to 2, that means if I have one red marble, I would have two blue marbles, and if I had two red marbles, I would then have to have four blue marbles. So in simplest terms, for every one red marble there is, there must also be two blue marbles. Doesn't matter how many red marbles and blue marbles you have, as long as you obey that basic rule, then the ratio will be 1 to 2. And that takes us into how we simplify ratios. First example question, we want to simplify this ratio of 4 to 6. Each way to do it is see, is there any number here you can divide 4 and 6 both by? In this case they're both even, so we can divide them both by 2. This ratio would simplify to the ratio 2 to 3. And we can see here that for every 2 red marbles I've got, I also have 3 blue marbles here. So here 2 red and 3 blue, and here also 2 red and 3 blue. Another one without a picture, simplify the ratio 6 to 10. Same idea, what number goes into both of these? They both divide by 2. So if you divide this whole ratio by 2, we get the simplified ratio of 3 to 5. Most common mistake I see is people kind of tend to forget that you can divide by other numbers other than 2. So in this question, we want to simplify the ratio 6 to 9. Here we cannot divide by 2 because 9 is not even. However, we can divide both these numbers by 3. In which case, 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So this ratio simplifies to the ratio 2 to 3. Okay, some questions for you to try. I'll give you a few seconds to pause the video and give them a go. And I'll go for the answers to the first 4 in 3, 2. Okay, question 1, you just simply halve these two ratios. So that's 1 to 2. Question 2, we can't halve them. However, they're both aimed in 5, which means we can divide both these numbers by 5. So 5 into 5 is 1, and 5 into 15 is 3. Question 3, they're both even, so we can divide them both by 2. Over the ratio 4 to 3. Question 4 is slightly harder. We can start the same way. They're both even, so we can both halve them. That will then give us a ratio of 6 to 9. However, when you are asked to simplify ratios, you want to make the numbers as small as they can possibly go. So this you can simplify further because, as before, both these numbers divide by 3. So your fully simplified ratio will be 2 to 3. Again, any test or exam to get full marks, you must fully simplify your ratio to get these numbers at the bottom as small as they possibly can be. Okay, moving on. Next we have basically using a ratio. So here, to make squash, I need to dilute 1 part of concentrated squash to 8 parts of water. Part A, how much water I need to add if I had 20 mils of concentrated squash. So let's go through it the long way. We know the ratio of concentrated squash to water is 1 to 8, and we have added 20 mils of concentrated squash. The general method is you want to work out what number have I times by to get from 1 to 20. This one's fairly obvious. 1 times 20 is 20. If we've done 1 times 20 to keep the ratio fair, to keep it balanced, we must also do 8 times 20. To work that out, 8 times 2 is 16, and then add on the 0. That would be 160 millilitres. That is how much water we must have added, was 160 millilitres. Part B, how much squash will I have altogether? Really straightforward. We have 20 mils of concentrated squash, 160 mils of water. So the total amount we have, we just need to add those two numbers together, which gives us 180 mils of squash altogether. Just one more. The ratio of cars to buses that pass our house is 7 to 2. if 10 buses go past my house, how many cars have gone past? So let's go through the same way. We have cars and buses in the ratio 7 to 2. We're then told that 10 buses have gone past our house. Same as before, we're going to work out what have we times by to get from 2 to 10. To do that, we can just work out how many 2's go into 10, which is 5, because 2 times 5 is 10. And then we must also do 7 times 5, which gives us 35. And that will tell us that 35 cars have gone past. Okay, fairly straightforward. Moving on now to splitting in a ratio. So here you've got some overall amount. In this case it is £200, and they want to split it in the ratio 3 to 2. This method is fairly nice. What we're going to do, we're going to work out how many parts there are all together. So if the ratio is 3 to 2, that's 3 parts to 2 parts. If we add those numbers together, we have a total of 5 parts. And we know the total £200 must equal those 5 parts. And the aim of all these questions is you want to work out what one part is worth. If we know £200, the total amount equals 5 parts, the total amount of ratio parts. We can basically do the opposite of what we've just done before. If you want to work out what one part is worth, we want to divide this whole, we'll call it equation, by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, so one part will be worth whatever 20 divided by 5 is, which gives us 40. So we're nearly done. We know each one part is worth £40. Going back to my question, we know that Eric got 3 parts. So if Eric has 3 parts, that means he has 3 lots of £40. And 3 times 40 is going to be 120. Eric gets 120, and then I'll just do the exact same thing for Claire. Claire gets 2 parts, which means she will get 2 lots of £40, and 2 40s gives us £80. And if you want to, you can check your answer by making sure that both these numbers here, these two final answers, do indeed add up to our original total of £200. Okay, hope it wasn't too hard for you. You have some questions to try here. They're in 3 parts. Again, they are all on the worksheet in the description. I'll quickly pause in each part. So part 1, using a ratio. Part 2, splitting within a ratio. And part 3, mixed questions, so basically one of each. I'll go through the answers in 3, 2, 1, 0. So part 1, using a ratio. We have a ratio 1 to 2, and that is red to blue. We've used 200 of red paint, which means we must have used 400 mils of blue paint. Part A answers 400. Total amount of paint you would make all together, you want to add these two numbers together. 200 plus 400, you'll make a total of 600 mils. Other answers I will just show. Question 2, you work out their 900 cars, which means there's 1,100 vehicles altogether. Remember, vehicles means cars and lorries. Question 3, we've got triple ratio, nothing really changes. My working out is down here. We've got a ratio 1 to 6 to 3, and we're told we use 200 kilograms of concrete. Concrete was here, so we had to times everything by 200. I then worked out how much standard water was needed, and then in part B, which is here, I add together all those 3 numbers down here, and I'll give you the total amount of concrete made. Splitting in a ratio, as always, add up these 2 smaller numbers and then divide it by the total. So 50 divided by 5 gives us 10, and we then do 4 times 10 and 1 times 10. Question 5, we do 120 divided by these added together, so divided by 10 gives us 12, and then we do 3 times 12 and 7 times 12, which gives us these numbers over here. Question 6, same idea, using 3 parts. You'll add together 1, 3 and 7 to give you 11, and then do the total divided by that, and then times up, giving you these 3 answers here. Okay. And Okay, that's it for the basics of ratios. Hopefully that's fairly straightforward. Thanks for listening.